Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Masochists Marathon, episode 16. So I wanted to start this episode off by rebuilding the miner production for the blue science. I finally sat down, had a play around in a sandpit map, and I've come up with a layout that I quite like, and it fits in this area without me having to move red circuits or anything like that. In fact, it just about fits. So yes, this layout uses direct feed from assemblers, because to begin with I thought I can't really do that with this because there's not the right number of assemblers, but then I realized there's a perfect number of assemblers if I lay it out like this. So I believe 5 assemblers can feed these 2 minor assemblers with just the right amount of cogs and everything. Plus laying it out like this gives us 3 inputs of iron. So if I had enough iron smelting going on, we could feed this all with yellow belts. And what's beautiful is when I want to double up blue science, all I need to do is upgrade these to red belts and it'll all fit in. I won't need any extra belts because, of course, 3 yellow belts of iron wouldn't be enough to feed this. So this layout's quite nice. It's expandable in this area when we want to double up the production. But, of course, we won't be doing that until we have the iron to actually justify it. So I get the layout all set up. I've tested it all. It all seems to work okay. But if anyone has any suggestions or quarrels with it, please do let me know in the comments. But then we mess around with the poles for a little bit because this area is quite a mess and I was a little bit triggered, so I come and tidy these up so they're all nice and straight. So I believe it's episode 14 went out where I asked where the best way I should probably be recording the biter slaying, because there's going to be an absurd amount of it, and to keep it all in recordings would be a bit ridiculous. Speeding it up would work, but again, there's still going to be a hell of a lot of it no matter how much I speed it up. And I had a couple of comments suggesting to do the heavily edited method, so much appreciation there. Thank you for that. I quite like that idea. It is going to be a bit more work for me, but that's fine. I'm going to actually enjoy doing it. I kind of think it's the natural evolution in which this series should go in anyway. So when it comes to clearing biters, and I have a feeling I'm going to start using it in other places as well, we're going to be having some pretty heavy edited stuff, and then I'm going to be updating with where I am. This hour's worth of gameplay I've already kind of sat down and recorded before I decided what I was going to do, but I'm probably going to heavily edit the second part of it where we do some work on the perimeters, which we'll be doing right up until we complete advanced electronics. Then I want to lay that out so that we can carry on doing that research while I carry on doing the perimeter work, because we're going to hit behemoth biters very soon, and I kind of want that research going on so I know I've got strong enough lasers to deal with it. Now we kind of cock up this area. The biter base was sat right on the power poles, so this pretty much confirms they really don't give a damn about the power poles, because this base was practically surrounding one. We also have a look at the evolution at this point, just to cap on it at the start. We're at 0.79, so very close to 0.8, and it won't be long until 0.95, which is apparently when we get the behemoths. So we're leaving some lasers just to make sure no further caravans try and get past here, or set up right here. And we have another base that has set up right besides the tiny little gap that I filled in last episode. I only used 2 turrets because I thought biters would only ever be coming from the south. But clearly that wasn't enough laser turrets, so we come down and just have a look at what's going on here, get these 2 turrets repaired, and I replace it with a few more, just moving the radar so we can squeeze another turret in there. So hopefully that should be a bit stronger there. Probably not going to need it now, but oh well, we'll just have to wait and see. Better to have too much than not enough. So we head back up to where we were working on the wall before, and we start putting in the lasers back here. Now we've got loads more poles and loads more lasers, so I feel much more comfortable working on this area. Obviously I put 1 turret with a space in between each, place it out like that, and then take out every other turret. And we go for a push to take out the bases here, triggering a lot of biters to come down and attack. But thanks to our upgrades, they deal with it pretty well. We then back up a bit from the north just to take out these 3 nets here, which triggers a huge amount of medium, or big biters. Sorry, I get the mediums and bigs mixed up. I always think the blue ones are the mediums, but they're the bigs. And we get an attack back down at the power. I was going to put an edit in here while we started working on this, but the attack on the power can't really be missed out. It's our first attack that's kind of been triggered. I guess they were wondering, or making a caravan. I don't really know. But I rushed down, taking the risk of going through there. But I risk it and come past these turrets here. Hopefully they should sort it out. But by the time I get here, the other defenses had sorted it out. But to be honest, this is something I did need to sort out. The turrets that were here before just weren't strong enough So I come in and put some proper defenses that should be able to deal with that kind of attack in the future. I'm guessing they were triggered by the pollution, or they were just wandering over. I don't really know. But yeah, we go around and just expand all the laser turrets. So I'm going to put a cut in here, but one other thing I wanted to say. This episode, I'm cutting up an hour's gameplay, and then if I've got time, I might record a bit more on the end. But in the future, when I'm doing biter pushing and stuff like that, I will be doing updates live. Past me will be doing them in gameplay, and then I'll be doing commentary over the rest of the sped up stuff like I usually do. So we'll have a bit of a mix of the two, but I've not done this before, so we'll see how it evolves and how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to go work on the defenses, and we'll be back soon. So that's this bottleneck finally filled in. We've got all the lasers in, and we get a radar in as well to have a look up in the north. There's a 1.9 iron patch there, which would be quite nice. If we get this whole area cleared up and get some rail in, that would be quite accessible. But we get the wall in with the radar to start scanning, which immediately finds a water patch just north of this one. You can just see it right on the edge of the square. So I decide to carry on pushing up. We get advanced electronics completed, so we're able to lay that science out soon. But I carry on finishing the last laser turret upgrade. It's the laser turret shooting speed 4, which will help us even further with our laser pushing. It's basically our only weapon against the biters at the moment. Obviously, I want to push on to power armor soon, which is the other reason I'm going for high tech, so we can do all that kind of stuff as well. I don't know when I'm going to get production done, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So we're heading back to the factory, because while doing that pushing, I realized we were pushing the power just over what we were capable of producing, and I want to keep on top of that. So I'm going to head back to the factory and collect a load of iron, enough to put in a whole full column, which is an absurd amount of iron. It takes me about 10 minutes or even 15 minutes to collect enough iron and get it all produced. So I'm going to cut in here, and we'll be back when we're placing out the steam column. So we've got our 40 steam engines produced and our 20 boilers. I've actually placed the boilers out already, cleared some space for all of that. I also moved the coal belt so it's nice and straight now going through those trees. It took a little while digging all of those trees out, but we lay out the 40 engines, 20 boilers, which are actually already laid out, and the one pump. I did do some more testing with this layout, and I still can't see 2 pumps making a difference. So I ran it on one pump, completely maxed out, and I only had the one problem with one boiler at the very end going down by about a quarter available performance, but that was only after removing all the coal from the boilers and putting it back in. And then I tried adding a second pump, and it didn't seem to change anything. So I know the math adds up or doesn't add up, but maybe they've changed something with the mechanics once it becomes steam. But I've tested this layout for over half an hour at maxed out, and it seems to run great. So I'm just sticking with the one pump for now. But yeah, I've moved this coal belt over here, so I come in and we add a second coal belt, because with that third column, this can no longer run at full steam on a single belt of coal. So I get this second one in, which will get it ready for the fourth column as well when we need to add that in, because I'm sure we will before we get onto nuclear power. So I've already dug all the trees out for this, so it's lovely and quick. But now I'll be more confident doing the biter pushing, that we have enough power coming through. And we're still feeding off that coal patch, that starting coal patch north west of here. But as soon as that's gone, we can take that belt coming down there and maybe even put some columns running in along there. We've also got a lot more laser defense here than we did before, because obviously the pollution here is going to just get greater and greater and just trigger more attacks. So I'll head over to the factory just to get some more laser turrets for our pushing and just generally check all the areas. We've nearly finished mining Iron Outpost 1. But yeah, lots of resources up here in the northeast. We're going to have a lot of outposts up here. I'm thinking each new outpost will have the next number. I'm not going to renew or reuse a number, just so we can keep a record of how many outposts we've had of each resource. But I'm going to get on with doing some more biter pushing. I'll just come and have a look at the miner layout just to see how it's all going. And I do get a bit triggered about the input of resources, and I'm afraid I am going to start using some priority splitters and the shufflers. The shuffler still doesn't work very well, but my testing of the actual priority splitter seems to work great, and I just can't resist not using it. So I chuck one in here, but again, I completely understand this is pointless because we're not getting enough iron coming through anyway. But yeah, I put it in for the copper for the circuits, because at the circuits we have 3 full belts of copper, and it's still not outputting on that very first copper output at 100%, and it just seems silly not to have that. So I do go and put a priority splitter in there as well, but I do know it's pointless because we just haven't got enough iron coming through anyway. But you can see here we've got a full 3 belts of copper, and it's just not completely saturating it. And I just really couldn't resist putting these in. Basically, I have the priority splitter feeding off to the output set to greater than 12 for those 2 readers, and then the lane shufflers are set to 8. They're a bit more lenient, but they just make sure that all the resources move down to the bottom belt once it's been fed off. But you can see now it's completely saturating that belt. We're not having any throughput issues on the main bus, although I didn't really stay to watch so that you could see it. I also come and look at the train because that belt wasn't fully saturated. I just think the chests were running out and couldn't fully saturate it. So we got our power upgraded, and I take a very dangerous route back to do the biter pushing. I just wanted to show this bit because it's the closest point to me dying I've had yet. They destroy my car and chase me to the defenses. I have to put some extra lasers in just to deal with the amount of biters. But yeah, very stupid move on past me's account there, but we just about survived. So I'm going to carry on biter pushing, and we'll be back in a little bit. So we've pushed our way all the way to the north of this lake here. I've been a bit lazy and sort of crept my way through quite a lot. You can see on the minimap there, they're still attacking some of the defenses on the way up, but we've pretty much reached that 1.9 million iron patch. I haven't got any rails in here, and I couldn't do that at the moment with the amount of biters, but maybe I can squeeze it in somewhere. But we've actually run out of the hours footage I had for the episode, so to finish off the episode, I'm going to go record some more. I'll either do the advanced electronics or do some more biter pushing. I don't know. I haven't quite decided, but yeah, it just shows how much more I can get done with this editing style. So I quite like it. So I'm going to go record some more. I'm going to get a radar in here just so we can start scanning where the next nearest lake is. But yeah, there's quite a big lake over there to the east. So we'll see what the radar finds. I'm going to go record some more gameplay for the second half of the episode. And I guess for you, it'll just be a few seconds. But yeah, there's an 8.6 million coal patch there. Absolutely lovely. So I'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, ladies and gents, and on our way down, yet another nest has popped up here in this little bit. So clearly a very popular and sought after area for a nest to exist. So we have to come down and deal with that, but we've finished our laser turret shooting speed. So that's all the laser upgrades we have available at the moment. But my plan that I've just randomly decided to do is to go for high-tech science packs next. So we get all these turrets repaired. Now, I was going to edit this down. The length of footage that I went and recorded is just right for the rest of the episode, and it's kind of what we've been doing anyway, and I don't want to lose that theme too much. I don't want to do too much of the heavily edited stuff where it's not biter stuff. So the rest of the episode is in the usual 3 times speed standard. I leave some turrets in here permanently just to prevent any more nests coming, and I just don't like them being that close because I can't follow my little path up through the Red Sea up to where we're up to so far. So we're going to leave that radar up there scanning to try and find the next body of water, and hopefully it's in such a way that gives us a nice area up in the northeast to use. So yeah, we refuel the wall production back there. I'm still doing that manually, sadly, and we can see the atrocious trickle of iron coming through, which is our current problem. But we get modules researching next because we're going to need that for the high-tech science packs. We need the speed module 1s, and it seems bizarre that we're on modules already, but I guess that comes down to the fact that I've been playing way too much Bobs. So we start clearing some trees, and I don't know if you've spotted just northwest of me there's a biter base very close to the factory. It's not in pollution, and I'm going to just try not to trigger it, so we just sort of ignore it for now. So the layout I'm going for, I've played around with this layout quite a bit. I want to go with something that I've randomly come up with. I don't want to just copy a layout, and I quite like this one, but it does have a couple of issues which are solved by modules. As soon as we get putting in modules and beacons, it can all be solved, but the ratio is there is a split second where these won't be running, but that doesn't really matter because we're not going to be able to feed this thing with anywhere near enough resources to get it running constantly. And you're probably thinking I'm absolutely balmy going for high-tech science packs at the moment with my limited resources. But these things primarily use copper. I think they use 110 copper per cycle, but you get 2 science packs per cycle. But I may have completely forgotten, and I might be just pulling that number completely out of my ass. But yeah, I tried this layout for quite a bit. At the moment, we're just doing half. We're going for 7 because we're not going to be able to feed the factory for this thing to go at full speed anyway. And plus, it won't actually fit. It's a very long, thin layout, and it's actually going to cover the copper patch. So I need to get on with finishing mining copper outpost 1 if we want the full 14 assemblers for high-tech science packs. But for now, we're just going for the 7. So we've got all the module stuff done that we need for the high-tech science packs. I realise this belt's a bit messed up from when we were changing stuff around last episode, so I get that cleaned up for the blue science. Again, doesn't really matter because we're never going to run that thing at full speed. So the ratios here, we need 30 copper wire per assembler every 14 seconds. And in 14 seconds, a copper wire assembler can make 58, I think it was. I can't remember. I did that math a couple of days ago, but the ratio is still in my head, so that's why I haven't gone and done it again. But as soon as you start putting productivity modules in and beacons with speed modules, this thing all kind of sorts itself out. And that's what's nice about this layout. We can have beacons on the east side along in the gap here. We can also put them in between the speed module 1s, which also need at least 1 speed module, I think. 1 just to make up for the fact that they take 15 seconds. So that extra second means that, yeah, we're going to have a gap. But as soon as we start using speed modules and productivity modules, the whole thing will run at full speed, as long as we have enough resources coming in for it, which at the moment we don't. But also you can't actually put productivity modules in the speed module production. So yeah, we'll just get 1 speed module 1 in there, and that should sort the ratio out when we actually have enough stuff. So I finally put the advanced circuits on the bus, but I don't like this little squirmy bit. It kind of triggers me a bit, but I'll work out another time to get that to feed in nicely. And it doesn't really matter. Again, it's aesthetics, so I should really just ignore it, but I just can't. So we get that hooked up for the speed module 1 production. But basically, I am a bit crazy going for high tech, or at least I think I am a bit crazy. Maybe it's completely rational and I'm just exaggerating, but it gives us access to those final laser damage and speed upgrades. I think there's 3 more that we can do before we get to the space science packs. But basically, I need them because we're going to be hitting behemoths soon. And if we can't kill behemoths and we run out of resources, we can't expose more resources with those laser turrets because they're just not strong enough, then we're going to hit stalemate, and that's going to be the end of it all. So that's why I'm doing this. I know it's going to take us a long time to do that research because we're going to have a trickle of science packs coming through, just like with the blue. But while that's all happening, I can work on getting more resources, doing laser turret pushing, which will push the evolution up to behemoths pretty soon. I think we end this episode on 0.81. We may look at it in the recording. I might have cocked up there and forgotten to check it, but yeah, we're at 0.81 at the end, but we'll see. I know I've just recorded this, but I literally can't remember even if we checked it while recording. So we start laying out the production for the purple circuits. Now, some people might be thinking I'm a bit weird calling them purple, but everyone seems to call them blue. And I don't know why, because they solidly look purple to me. Tell me if I'm wrong or colorblind, but yeah, I've always called them purple. They look purple to me. So I'm going to call them blue. You know what I'm on about. No, I'm going to call them purple, I mean. God, it's even getting me sort of confused about it now. But yes, I always thought they were purple, so I found that very odd. But either way, they're processing units. So we get the production of processing units done. This is going to be the universal processing unit production anyway, which is why I'm giving them an input of a full belt of green and red circuits. So yeah, we should be able to produce more than enough for the high-tech science packs and for the rest of the factory, although they do need quite a lot for the high-tech science packs, so maybe I'm wrong about that, and it would actually be a good idea to actually have another row of them. I don't know, but they use an absurd amount of circuits anyway. It may have been reduced in 0.15, but I might just be pulling that out of thin air. I don't know. But either way, we're not having enough resources to feed this area in the slightest. Once it gets running, the shortfall appears to be actually iron for the green circuits, because we're using a lot of green circuits for those speed module 1s as well. But at least this is all in place, and then we can just focus on getting those extra resources in, increasing our rate of smelting, and just generally getting the factory in a really productive state, which is really what a factory should be doing. It should be productive. So the last thing we do is get the piping in for the sulfuric acid. A few moments ago, I did go and collect a huge amount of iron to get those crafted because I didn't have them on me, because we're going to need to bring sulfuric acid down onto the bus. I do deliberate a little bit where to put it because I don't really like having pipes on the bus, but I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and accept it. I don't know how I even used to do it without having it on the bus. I don't know. I think I stuck the fuel processing area in some weird place. Anyway, we get all those pipes in. we hook up the sulfuric acid and we kick off the production of the processing units, which gives us everything we need for the high-tech science packs. And to begin with, we do actually produce quite a few. That's just, excuse me, that's just because of all the resources that are backed up. But you can see at the very top of the screen there, a very thin trickle of green circuits. So we need to sort that out, increase that area even more. But to be honest, at the moment, there's no point because we're just not having enough iron through. And I spend the last bit of the episode just shoehorning in this belt. I'm going to have to put in something a lot better for this, and we're going to have to rearrange the labs as well so we can actually feed them properly. But I'll get on with that at another point. But yeah, I just start messing around with this, and I put in this horrible belt. And we don't even feed half the labs, but to be honest, we're not going to produce enough packs to feed half of them anyway. So that's where I'm going to end the episode. That's going to be all we have time for. I do hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and please do come and join me in the next episode. Bye-bye.